Good morning. We will start the morning call. Stocks and bonds fell in Asia today morning after treasuries and Wall Street shares sank on a jump in US inflation to a four-decade high, as well as the US Treasury bill crossed the 2% mark. Subsequent comments from the Fed raised fears that US central bank will hike rates aggressively by 50 basis points next month instead of earlier expected 25 basis points. Yeah, in India, yesterday, RBI kept all rates unchanged and maintained accommodative stance and projected that GDP will grow by 7.8% in FY23 while maintaining that inflation will come down to 4.5% next year. Both growth and inflation expectations are lower than economists' expectation for FY23. RBI policy again put clear emphasis on ensuring that economy is on path to growth recovery, while taking view that inflation is driven by supply disruptions and rather than pushed up by demand side pressures, and it expects that it will soften in the second half of FY23 to almost 4% levels, which is towards the lower mid range of the RBI band. So a technical team can take up from here.
A very good morning, everyone. This is Ayush Mehta. I'll be covering the technical part for the day. Well, yesterday we have seen a good move in the Nifty, taking support from its 50 DMA. But today, taking the cue from the global market, we feel there is going to be opening gap down, and there's going to be a selling pressure in the market. For today, taking the important support for today is placed at 17,400. And if we witness a closing below that, then Nifty might test 17,270 levels as well. Whereas if market changes momentum and starts to go up, then 17,690 will be the next resistance level, and followed by 17,770. Moving on to Bank Nifty, it gave a closing around 39,000 levels. Same if we see the markets, then it might drag Bank Nifty towards 38,650 levels. And if we witness a closing above that, it might test 38,000 to 38,100, 150 levels as well. Moving on to Nifty Financial Services, it closed around 17,700 levels. Immediate support for this index is placed at 17,550. And any closing below that, it might grab towards 17,380 levels. And immediate resistance for this index is placed at around 17,900 to 18,000 levels. So moving on to stock specific, Sudarshan Chemical is looking good at the current levels. One can have a long position in that. With a stop loss of 597, we have already initiated a buy call in that. Also, Stertech is looking good at this level. We feel it is on the bottom right now, and it can reach towards 240 levels. So that's all from my side. I request derivative guys to take the call forward.
Yeah, thank you, Avish. Good morning, everyone. So as per derivatives data, we have seen that the OI positions are getting added up at the nearest striker. But as you look at the global scenario, we are seeing that on the higher end at 17,600 to 17,800 striker, there is highest call rider positions which are getting added up. As we look into the IVs, we are seeing at 17,800 and 17,900 striker, between 17,700 to 17,900 strike put writer positions are getting added up. So it means that from 17,700 to 900 level, there has been some sort of a resistance at that point of at that front. So currently we expect the long positions to be carried with the strict stop losses, as we are seeing that the Nifty is likely to open 200 points on the lower end. So on the lower end, we are seeing at 17,300 to 17,200 is holding a strong supportive zone for this weekly closing. So once if Nifty manages to give close in today's trading session above 17,500 level, then again we might witness this positive momentum to get continued. So hold your long position with the strict stop losses. As per the stock specific, we expect Federal Bank and Hind Copper. This two counter looks positive in today's trading session. Thank you.
Yeah. Good morning. Result of Piramal Enterprises improved. The pharma segment, if we see last couple of quarters, had been posting low margins at around 13 odd percent against normal level of 22 odd percent. So this quarter we saw that it has bounced back to 22% levels. And company has guided that pharma revenues will grow at 15% going forward, and bottom line can grow at around 20 odd percent. On the NBFC front, the loan book remained flattish quarter on quarter, although company has now started executing plans to grow the retail segment. Loans in retail segment like affordable housing, SME, personal loans, and BNPL. So companies targeting to increase the retail mix from current 36% of loan book to 66% over next 3 to 5 years. We have seen that this was the first quarter where disbursements have accelerated pace and were at almost 700 crores odd levels. And going forward on a quarterly run rate basis over next 4 or 5 quarters, they have given target of around 2,500 to 3,000 crores kind of disbursements. But again, partly it would be towards longer tenure segments like housing and SME, and partly towards short tenure loans. So we remain positive from long-term perspective. Bharat Forge result was marginally below expectation. Sales grew by 55%, but they were mainly led by exports, which grew by 68%, and domestic grew by 40%. Profit grew by almost 145%, but still was down around 10% below expectation. There are a couple of triggers to track for this company for re-rating to take place in the longer term. So one is the semiconductor shortage, which is seeing to be eased out in next year, and so there can be a strong rebound from the auto OEMs, demand from auto OEMs. And second trigger will be the double-digit growth and high margin industrial business that can be a bigger trigger than the auto side also. And two big segments within the industrial side are oil and gas and mining. Both are doing well. So we remain positive from long-term perspective on Bharat Forge. Hero MotoCorp result was in line. Revenue declined 20%. Margins also declined to almost 12% against 14.5% last year. This is because of commodity cost increase as well as negative operating leverage. Overall sentiment for domestic two-wheeler remains muted, and also from the demand from rural side continues to remain weak. So we are neutral on Hero Moto. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for this. Trend has announced the results, and results were marginal ahead of expectations. The key thing to notice was that the West Side has reported 1,000 crore sales, which was a positive because now it has reached a scale where it can grow further from here, whereas the other retail is the V-Mart retail, which results were broadly in line with the expectations. Those sales grew by 47%, margins were little flattish at 19.6%. The stock is trading 61 times FY23, which is cheaper than trend, but still higher. Tata Chemicals announced their results, and results were broadly in line with the expectations. Revenue grew by 21% YOY, and EBITDA margins were 17.4 versus expectation of 18.4. However, in terms of absolute, which is kind of in line, Kiri Industries announced the results, and results have improved. The margins came at 11% versus 12%, but because of the higher income from its subsidiary, the SPAT was higher, and the stock is trading 5 times at TTM EPS, which is cheap. We are not very positive on Kiri Industries because it is into bulk chemicals. Dr. Lal PathLabs announced the results, and after a long time, we are seeing that the results were below expectations. Sales grew by 10%, but margins were lower at 22 versus expectation of 29. Last year, it was 30.7. Krishna Institute of Medical Science announced the results. This is a newly listed company in healthcare space. Results have improved. Sales grew by 9%, but margins were quite good at 33% versus 25.8% last year. shares trades 29.8 times, which is not very cheap in this space. Whirlpool of India announced the results, and results were below expectations. The company saw decline in the revenue as well as the margins have also come down, which was a major disappointment. Alembic Pharma announced the results, and results were marginally above expectations. Though the sales was flat, but margins were a little better at 20% versus expectation of 19.5. We remain positive on Alembic from the long-term point of view. Also, like we have seen in the retail, like Trent and VMart announced the results. Irrespective of the results, the valuation of these two companies are quite high. Instead of these two, we are very positive on Shoppers Stop. It gives good turnaround story plus the valuation comfort. So we are positive on Shoppers Stop and continue to maintain a positive stance on that. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Sun TV Network has announced the result, and the company has posted above expectation numbers both on the revenue and the margin front. Stock is trading at a PE of 11.3 times FY23 EPS. Aegis Logistics has posted above expectation numbers for the quarter, with revenue coming in at 1214 crore versus expectation of 1205 crore. Even on margin front, the company has shown above expectation numbers and came in at 12.3% versus expectation of 11.7%. Stock is trading at 17 times FY23 EPS. Thank you.
We are done for the day. Thank you for attending. Have a good day.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.